Hello and welcome to episode 61 of Novel Knits. My name is Dehnel and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. Thank you so much for joining me today, especially since again I've been away for longer than I intended. I'm really happy to see you, and I hope in the comments below you'll let me know what you've been knitting on this summer and if you've had any great summer reads, because I could really use a good summer read. When I get to the book club at the end, you'll kind of see I'm in a rut and a half. So book recommendations definitely requested today. I have a couple finished objects. It's pretty sock heavy. Socks are a good thing for me to work on in the summer because I go to a lot of baseball games for my son. And yeah, I just have not had the same amount of knitting time that I'm used to lately. So I definitely feel like I have a little less to share today than normal, but it's all good. And as always, I have great knitting dreams of things that I would love to accomplish. So we will talk a little bit about that at the end. And then so I have two finished objects, a couple works in progress, some works in progress that are languishing that I'd like to get back to, book club, and then if I have anything personal to share, I'll throw it on at the end. So let's get into the knitting right away, shall we? It is 7:40 in the morning, which I'm not a morning podcaster. I normally do not do this first thing in the morning, but summer has required it. So I'm gonna have a sip of tea and then we'll get started. And fun fact about me, I absolutely despise when people eat and drink on camera. So sometimes I will cut it out of my own videos because it is such a thing for me that I don't enjoy. So we'll see. It might be a big leap of trust if I keep it in. Okay, so my first finished object is my Gravel Path socks. So these are a DK weight sock pattern by Julie Ann Knitter of Twin Stitches Designs. And let me show them to you because they're gorgeous. The yarn I used is Thea's Terrific Threads in the color Pale Beneath the Tan. And this is a really easy pattern. I think it's a 2-row repeat, and I love this yarn. It's not really my normal wheelhouse. I'm kind of a gray, black, autumn color person, but this yarn just made me really, really happy to work on it. These were a cuff down pattern. I think I did 44 stitches, and she called for a short row heel that I'd never done before, and I just inserted a fish lips kiss heel because I know how to do that by memory. But yeah, I think these are really nice. So that gravel path goes down both sides, and I didn't make any modifications. I did do these shorty just because this is the first time I've made DK weight socks out of DK weight yarn, and I just wasn't sure how far the yarn would go. And I probably had plenty of yarn left over that I could have added a couple more inches to these if I'd wanted to, but I'm fine with these. And these are gonna be for me, mainly because I don't know anybody else in my life who would want, you know, kind of highlighter yellow and neon colored socks. But yeah, I'm really happy with these. They turned out really, really well. They would have been a fast, project for me if I'd only focused on them. I probably could have gotten them done in like a day and a half, but you know me, I always have about 30 projects on the needles, so they took a couple weeks. So I started these on January 2nd of this year and finished them May 16th. So yeah, took about 5 months, and it shouldn't have, but they're done now and they're beautiful, and I'll have them next winter to keep my feet warm. Okay, my next finished object, I'm just gonna put on the blockers really quick, so please hold. All right, so my next finished pair of socks are my bride socks, which is my second pair of Book Socks Club socks for this year. So if you are new, Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits and I are hosting a super casual make-along this year of making socks that match our books that we're reading or have read or just love or anything. So if this is something that you like to do, we hope you will join us. The hashtag is Book Socks Club. It does not roll off my tongue, but I love it. So this is the book that started it all, The Bride Book by Ali Hazelwood. I actually just read it again because I was in a reading slump. To me, this is one of my favorite books. It is spicy, but there's vampires, werewolves. It definitely like takes you away. You know, it's very fantasy, but the characters are just so likable. So, you know, whenever I kind of feel like I'm in a reading rut, I pick up this book. And these are the socks that I knit to go with them. So yay, I love this combination. I think it's pretty perfect. So the yarn that I used, I'm just saying it's Ex Libris Fibers. Rita and I, Rita, who is the dyer behind Ex Libris Fibers, we were fiber share partners a while ago, and she dyed this for me. It is called Untamed, and then the black is Leading Men Fiber Arts in Darkest Hour. So the pattern that I used is from Nancy Wheeler, Knit Sip Happy. Wow, I'm really name dropping and I'm doing it all from my brain. It's really exciting. And this is the collection of columns pattern that I used. So she released this pattern. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I grabbed it, and I didn't even realize that there were like 6 different patterns that you could choose from. I didn't really realize it was a choose your own adventure pattern when I bought it. I was just like, Nancy's putting out a pattern, I'm gonna buy it. So it has this great knit and purl pattern down the side, but I could have chosen one with cables, one with lace. Like she's got so many different ones. And the thing I also like about that pattern is like I could do a column down the front, I could do a column down the back, I could do different stitch patterns. So it's a really cool pattern, and I highly suggest picking it up because Nancy's patterns are always so good. So yeah, I did this one 72 stitches because these are for my husband. And yeah, I did the heel flap and gusset, slip stitch heel. And yeah, these are on my size sock blockers, but I did hold these up to his socks that are in his sock drawer, and I think they're gonna stretch to be just fine, but I'm a little concerned that they might be small, but they're for me, so I mean, it's all fine. But yeah, so I started these on February 20th, and I finished them June 6th. So I have started my 3rd pair of Book Socks Club socks, and I'm really excited. You'll see those as soon as I get into works in progress, but this has been so much fun. If you want to join us, you do not have to be currently reading a book. It can just be a book that's in your house. It could be a book that you love. It can be a future read. If you have yarn that you can match or just feel like it brings out the essence of the book, please join us, because I don't know that I'm ever going to stop doing this, to be perfectly honest. To me, this is pure joy. This is like my happy place. It checks all my boxes: reading, knitting, and putting it together in my head. Yeah, it's like perfect for me. So thank you, Sophie, for suggesting that we do this. And yeah, I think I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Okay, let's move on to works in progress. All right, so the next book that I decided to do for Book Socks Club is The Favorites by Elaine Fargo. I have read this book already. My mom happened to buy a copy of it, and after she finished, I was like, can I have it, please? Because I have to match socks to it. So yeah, I had listened to it on Audible, which was an amazing experience. I recommend reading or listening to this book, but the Audible experience is really good. They have a big cast, and one of them is the figure skater Johnny Weir, and so it just feels really, it's a really well done audiobook if you're interested, but I'm also enjoying just reading it too. I love talking about books and yarn at the same time. I should have been doing this for 4.5 years. All right, so the yarn that I found to go with this book, that is not the right tag, I just found on Etsy. I typed in black and gold yarn, and as you can imagine, that brought up a lot of like bumblebee-ish looking yarns. So I had found this yarn, which is more gold, purple, browns, and I thought, yes, that works. It works. So the dyer of this yarn is Comfy Kids Designs. I had never seen the shop before. The color is Lilac Branches. And yeah, so the book, finding a pattern was difficult. I don't know why. Because I am so busy and stressed out this summer, I don't want anything difficult. I just don't want anything complex right now. I just don't feel like my brain can handle that. So I really wanted something that would be rhythmic and easy, like a Nancy Wheeler pattern. And I looked at Nancy's patterns, and I'd already done a 1x1 cuff. And I had this thought too of, because this is a book about figure skating, I wanted something that looked like it had edges. But I didn't want to do cables, which doesn't really work if you're gonna do something like that. So then I started just to look for things in my Ravelry pattern library, and nothing was hitting me. And I have a lot of sock patterns in my Ravelry sock library that I have not knit yet. I even looked at things I've knit in the past, like, do I want to do that again? I was just having a hard time settling on a pattern. So then I found, I have 52 weeks of socks books. So I found volume 2, and because I'd already done 1x1 ribbing, I didn't want to take on something that was toe up or had, I don't know, like a different stitch pattern on the cuff that went into patterning on the sock. So everything felt like it was a little just not working. I don't know, it's probably my brain, which was the problem. But I landed on these socks. They're called I am not gonna say it correctly. I'm gonna say it very Americanly and say Lakolk, which I know is wrong. And the designer is Lotta Löthgren. So this was exactly what I wanted. It has a little bit of slip stitching, but enough stretch. Plus this yarn has nylon in it, which is great. And it did have a 66 stitch pattern number. And I started, hang on, let me put these on a sock blocker. So normally I make 64 stitch socks, so this is a 66 stitch sock. And after I did the 1x1 ribbing, I just added 2 extra stitches and it worked out. I put this on the blocker backwards. Let me fix that. Okay. And yeah, I am just loving this pattern. It's exactly what I wanted. So you can see here, there's like some broken rib, there's some slip stitches, and I did a heel flap and gusset. Who am I? I never used to do heel flap and gussets. It's amazing. And then, yeah, I love this yarn so much, how it's knitting up. It's dyed really, really evenly. It stretches nicely. It's very soft. I would definitely use this dyer again. So yeah, and this makes my heart happy. I just love it. It is maybe not, well, I think it's actually a pretty perfect match. I was gonna say maybe it's not a perfect match, but it really is. These possibly are for somebody else, but they're also possibly for me, because let's move on, because I feel that I've really, really, really banged on about that one. Okay, let's switch gears and move away from socks for a minute, because I have been working on projects that are not socks. They've been going slower, but this one has finally gained some momentum in the last couple of weeks. This is the Maven top by Rachael Raimo. And let me see if I have a picture. I think I do. I have not broken the habit of printing out my knitting patterns yet. It is something I would like to do, but I have not yet. Okay. So that's the Raven top. And I am using Pearl Soho linen quill, and I think the color Kettle Black. Let me see if I have it written down. Yeah, Kettle Black. I'm making the size 3, and I started this on May 10th. And it's coming along. It is on a small needle, so it's gonna be a little hard to show, but here it is. So I split for sleeves, and it's about here on me. It's just at my bust. So I definitely have a long way to go with this, but it's coming along nicely. I am following this completely to pattern. Obviously it has some short row shaping in the back that you can see. She does have you do a little bit of a jog when you're switching from the knit to purl rows, and I can't really see it, the switch. So I think it's working for me. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. This is the kind of thing I like. It's round and around and around, a purl round, round and around and around, a purl round. And then I'll just keep doing that until I get to the bottom hem. I just put it on try-on cords every once in a while and that's how I'll decide on my length. I don't do anything. I'm not a very, what's the word? Words are not coming easily to me today. I am not a very exacting knitter. So I will just knit on this and then try it on and then think like, okay, maybe you'll do like three more repeats of the knits and purl rounds. And then I'll try it on again and think like, maybe one more, and then bind off. And I don't know, I don't really use measuring tape unless I need to. When I make socks, I try them on, or I have people try them on. I do measure if I'm making for other people, especially my parents who have much larger feet than me. You know, I have like a sock ruler I use for them, but in general, I am just a kind of try it on, see how it's going kind of person. And this looks tiny, but it does fit me. This is a very, very, very small cord. So, all right. Because I was knitting on this at a baseball game, and some of the other moms were like, is that for your daughter? I was like, no, it's for me. I promise it'll fit. And it does. I tried it on after, and I was like, yeah, it fits. They made me feel a little self-conscious about that. All right, next I have my Hibernal socks. This is another, I should just call this the I only finish one sock now episode, because that seems to be where we're at. So the Hibernal sock is a pattern by Summer Lee. This is the second time I've knit it, and I love this pattern. Yeah, the yarn I'm using is Creative Knitter in a one-of-a-kind green. I am doing 72 stitches. I started this on April 14th, and these are a pair of prayer socks. So I'm making these for somebody else and kind of thinking about them as I make the socks. Yeah. This pattern is lovely. It is a mock cable, so it's very, very easy. It's, I think, a 5-row repeat. I love it. There's just something very, very relaxing about this pattern for me. And then these are a more relaxed fit sock. I will say this yarn is a little stiff for the pattern. I don't know if it's a little bit of a thicker weight fingering yarn. I mean, it looks kind of thick. It's not sport weight, it is fingering. But yeah, I just love this pattern and this yarn, and I think this is going to be a lovely pair of socks when they're done. So now I have to cast on for sock number 2, and then I get to do the same joyous process again. This one I definitely don't mind because I love working this pattern. I can see myself making a lot more Hibernal socks. And I also have the Hibernal DK socks pattern, so I see those coming into my life as well. So this might be the year of hibernation in sock form from me. Yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about those. I hope I cast on the second sock soon. Same with my favorite socks, my Book Socks Club socks. I never used to be someone who would do like one sock and move on, and I don't want to become that person. So I'm really going to work hard this weekend on casting on sock number 2. Okay, and then I have a pair of old, oh, I did not bring them. Did I? Oh, here they are. An older whip. So I pulled out the Whistledown socks, which is a pattern by Rachael Fletcher. I started these on April 23rd of 2024. I think when the last Bridgerton season came out. I'm using Knox Yarn Co. for the yarn. And the colorway is 2018 Sweet Solstice. So very, very gentle color, I feel. It's a very gentle, delicate color. And these are going to be for my mom for her birthday. Her birthday is in August, so I better get moving on these. We're going to be real honest, it's probably not going to happen, but there's a goal. So I had started these and I really, really loved making the twisted rib at the top. I really loved the lace. And then I hit the foot of the sock and I got really bored. So I managed to pick it up again. I think I was only here. So I added this much of the foot. I added a slip stitch heel, flap and gusset. And yeah, and so now I'm on the foot of the sock. And my mom has a size women's 10.5 foot. So I better start getting back to this. I am going on a small work trip next week. So maybe I'll just bring these with me and try to get this sock finished and then cast on for the next one. I think I'm just gonna bring 2 socks with me for that trip. I have a train ride to Chicago. I live in Milwaukee, well, just south of Milwaukee. And I have a train ride to Chicago, a night in a hotel room, and then a train ride home. So I could probably get a foot done if I only bring this. And maybe that's what I should do. Okay, I think I just convinced myself that that's what I should do. Okay, especially if I want to get that done for my mom. Okay, and my last work in progress, and I keep moving the camera today because my setup is a little wonky. I apologize. Let me just try to get this back. And my last work in progress for today is that I did finally cast on the Cranberry Gauze by Thea Colman. And I want to say this is my first Thea Colman pattern, but I'm not positive that that's true. So I'm not going to commit to that statement. Like I might have made something smaller, or I just have a lot of her patterns because I've been wanting to make several of them. So this is the pattern. It's kind of a vest, kind of a short sleeve sweater, it just looks like a great casual throw over piece that I would be all about. So, and then I think you pronounce it gauze. I did the Google pronunciation a while ago, but I forgot if that's correct. The yarn that I'm using is Harrisville Designs in their Nightshades line. And this is Talk Radio, which it looks black, but it's actually got a lot of purple in there. I think you can see. I love working with this. The pattern, I don't remember what size I'm doing. I started this on April 21st, and I've put it down for a couple weeks just because I've been busy doing other things. And the Maven has finally taken off, but I do love working on this. I'll pick it up again soon. But it's bottom up. So I started with 2x2 ribbing at the bottom, and now I'm just stuck in it until I get to a point where I do something different. I don't remember, I haven't looked at the pattern for a while, but just stocking it for a long time, and then I'll get into either some increasing for sleeves, and then there's some patterning at the top that looks really exciting. So, but I really love working with this yarn. I've had this in my stash for a really long time. I had kind of swatched for, well, I haven't. So I swatched for a different project with this yarn a couple of years ago, and it didn't work. And this seems to be working really well. So I'm really excited about this one. And I have 2 more sweater quantities of, well, I have 1 more of the Nightshades and then 1 in their Daylights line. So I think this might be my year of using up this yarn because I really enjoy working with it a lot. It's rustic. It's not very, well, I won't say it's rustic. It definitely isn't soft, but it feels really good and the texture is really nice, and I think it's going to be really nice, and it softens up quite a bit when you wash it. So I'm excited. Okay. Now I just have a couple languishing WIPs I wanted to talk about that I want to get back to because they've been languishing for a long time. And I did not put any additional information about any of these WIPs in here, so I'm not going to I'll have the information below. But the first is the Mercury Socks. If you've been here for a while, you have seen these. I mean, you'd have to have been here for a long time to see them, but this is the most beautiful sock I've ever made. The yarn is Vivid Yarn Studios. I think it's Cherie. Again, like some highlighter in there, but like it's so pretty. The lace is so pretty. It's easy. I think it's a 4-row repeat. It's super easy, and I love this sock. And I have had the second sock here for like 2 years. I need to finish the sock. I need this. So I'm gonna try to get to this before the end of the year for sure. I mean, if we're gonna say what I would like to do, I would like to have these finished by the end of the summer, but I'm also a realist these days and know that that's not gonna happen for me. But I wanna get back to the Mercury Socks. I also would like to get back to the Post. This is a project, a pattern by Julie Hoover. It's kind of like a cape throwover thing. I don't know. I've seen some other people make it. This is where I'm always like not sure if I should really do this because other people might like to wear things like this and I don't know if I do. But I pulled this out and I'm using Knit Picks Andine Treasure that I've had for a while now. And this is absolutely some of the softest yarn I have ever worked with. And so picking it up automatically made me want to work on it again. It's got this really nice side detail and then it's just stockinette. So I would like to get back to this soon. Just because if you could feel this yarn, you would be happy. Now, I did see somebody post something on Instagram or on Reddit about Knit Picks having a bug problem if you've purchased yarn from them in the last 6 months. I don't believe that I have, and if that's true, it's really concerning. I have not bought yarn in several months, which I'm kind of proud of. I think I'm just too busy right now to be looking at yarn or anything else. So I've not bought yarn from them in a while. So all the Knit Picks that I have in my stash, I've had for a while. But yeah, so I'm not saying don't buy from them. I'm just saying look into it before you do, because I don't like to hear things like that, especially if it's not being addressed. And then finally, the last thing I wanted to show you is this is actually going to be torn out. I decided, and I know some of you are really excited about this. Fear not, I'm coming back to it. I had cast on the Pure Joy by Joji Locatelli a couple of months ago, and I put it down and I didn't go back to it. And a lot of you were really excited, like saying you're gonna love it. And I did love knitting it for sure. But when I pulled it back out again, I just realized I don't like these colors anymore. I don't want to wear this bright speckled, yarn. This is Hue Loco. It's sparkle yarn, which I enjoy. I also don't think there's enough contrast between the two colors. This gray is just not a big enough contrast to the speckled yarn. So I am gonna rip this out and eventually start this over in different yarn. And I think I'm going to take these two yarns and hold them together and maybe make another pair of DK weight socks. We will see. This yarn will live again in something else. I just, I wasn't feeling it as a shawl, as like something that would be outerwear. So either they'll be socks on their own or they will be held together. Maybe they'll be socks on their own, we'll see. But yeah, the yarn is lovely. For a shawl, I'm no longer this kind of person. So, and again, this is yarn I bought off eBay years ago. I believe the colors are Big Sister and Little Sister, like a Grocery Girls colorways. They're nice. I just don't think they contrast enough for the shawl, and I don't want speckly yarn anymore for a shawl. So it'll come back, both the pattern and the yarn. Well, that's it for yarny things today. If that's all you're here for, thank you so much. It was awesome. Let me know what you're working on. If you have any like really patterns that you really enjoyed making, I could really use something like that right now. I am enjoying my knits a lot. I am very much focused on socks though, and I would like to branch out a little bit. However, then I think about that and think, well, you love making socks, but I have a lot of socks. I don't really need to make any more socks. Okay, so I'm gonna get into a really quick book club. I'm gonna try to grab my notebook without moving the camera again. Okay, so I'm just gonna read off the books I read, and then if there's anything I wanna say about them, I will, but not a lot of like great books this time around, and fewer than normal for how long I've been away. I'm in a bit of a reading slump, but I have a feeling we're about to turn a corner, so there is hope. I finished Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tirzah Price. I gave that 3 stars. It's, Jane Austen with a little murder mystery. It was good. It took me a while to get into it, but once I did, it was quite good. I finished The Ministry of Time by Kayleen Bradley. I gave that 4 stars. It probably would have been a 5-star book if I'd been in a better headspace when I was reading it. It had some of the most lovely writing that I've read in a while. It was a really unique concept with time travel, and it was great. I think the reason it's only a 4-star book for me is because I got to the ending and I had no idea how we got there. I was like, felt like I missed something huge, but again, that's probably a me problem more than a problem with the book. Then I read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I gave that 3 stars. One of my friends read it and suggested it to me, and it was just okay. It's a contemporary romance that I really can't remember much about. Then I read Fahrenheit 182 by Mark Hoppus of the band Blink-182. I thought it was good. I gave it 3 stars. My 90s loving heart like enjoyed going back there. It was a little flat. Like I felt like there were a lot of things he could have gotten a lot more into, but I understand why he didn't as well. And then we get into a weird place. I read Center Ice by Julia Connors, 3 stars. That was a hockey romance. I do not know why all these hockey romances entered my life. The only thing I can imagine is that Audible had a really good sale once and I got them all for under $2 because I was like, why do I have all these hockey romances? So I gave Center Ice 3 stars. It was fine. I think it was a little spicy, but not terribly spicy. Then I read Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. I really, of all the romancy books that I read, that one I enjoyed the most. It was Wedding Objectors. Penelope. Sorry, she woke up apparently. So people that go to people's weddings and object on behalf of the bride or groom, and of course you know what happens with the guy and the girl that do this together. But that one, Lynn Painter's books, I find her writing and her character development are always pretty good. I don't always like her plots, but this one was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Then I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, and I saw this on Bookstagram and people were raving about it, and I just thought it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. Then I read Mr. Heartbreaker by Piper Rain. I think we entered the spice within about 10 minutes of this book. And again, a hockey romance, and I don't know what happened. This one was super duper spicy and not a lot else. So it was only 3 hours long when I listened to it though. So I was like, head down and just keep reading. So I got it, and it added a book to my Goodreads total for the year. So yeah, I was okay with it. I'm a figure skater, so hockey players, I don't know why I have so many of their romance books, but I do. Okay. Then I read Beyond Oblivion by Jamie McGuire. I gave that 1 star. I thought it was awful. So Jamie McGuire wrote the book Beautiful Disaster, I think like 10 or 12 years ago. And then she followed it with all these other like Beautiful Oblivion, Beautiful this, Beautiful that, for all the brothers of the main character of the first book. So I, for a while, followed her on Instagram, and she is quite problematic. So I don't really enjoy supporting her anymore. But this was the only brother book that I kind of wanted to see or read if it ever came out. And it did. It was a second book, and it was so bad. As I was reading it, I just thought, the writing was terrible. And I'm not just saying this because I don't like her as a person. Like, I thought the writing was terrible, and it also didn't even feel like she bothered to try to place this story within the timeline that she'd already established in like 7 other books. So it felt inauthentic and just terrible and a waste of time. So I don't know if any of you have read all those books and were like, oh, I didn't know she had another book. Don't read it. It's not good. So yeah. And then I reread Bride after that. After those last 2 really bad ones, I was like, I need a palate cleanser. And I think I'm doing better now. So my before bed book right now is The Story Collector by E.B. Woods. This is just okay. I read The Lost Bookshop by her, and that was much better. This one, my main gripe is that she is clearly not an American writing about an American character, and it's not seamless. You can tell that it's someone foreign trying to write an American, just as you could tell if I was trying to write an Irish character. You know, there are some just words and mannerisms that are wrong. And then I just started Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm actually really enjoying that. I know there are some people that really, really like her, and I've read a couple of her books. I'm not one of those people that thought The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was the greatest book I ever read. I thought it was fine. And I've read a couple other books by her, but this one feels pretty mature, and I really am liking it. It reminds me of Lessons in Chemistry. So if you like Lessons in Chemistry, it's pretty good. So that's it. I think I got all the books. And yeah, I'll just do a really, really, really quick personal because I've got to get to work. It's Friday morning and I'm working today. So we've had a really busy summer. Milo's baseball, I missed the whole season with you. It's been a weird year. He is on a new team. There were things about it I liked, things I didn't like. I'm glad the season's coming to an end. He's got one more tournament and then it's over. He graduated from 8th grade. He's going to go to high school next year. So I will next year have a senior and a freshman in high school, and I have feelings about it, but it's okay. We went to Ohio for baseball. I mean, it's been baseball, baseball, baseball. I also am I'm still skating, so I'm still getting on the ice one to two times a week, just to exercise and work out, and it's been really fun. I am kind of trying to figure out a plan where I can get back to coaching. I think I have one, but it's very much in the early development stages. So it's going. It's also extremely busy. I'm going skating during the day, so skating is not the busy part, it's everything else in my life. So I'm still the treasurer for my daughter's high school dance team booster club, and it's a time of year where we're fundraising, we're getting parent payments, and that's really busy. And her schedule is super busy with that. I'm not happy she's gonna be finished with high school, but I am kind of happy that she's gonna be finished with high school dance because it is a lot and it's exhausting and it's something all the time. I'm getting texts about it all the time, and it's just so tiring. I'm not really a joiner, so it's not my favorite thing. And I would rather be spending my time, networking my way back onto the ice. So, but I think that's gonna happen. And we're in the last final months of her dance career. So I'm trying to enjoy it and take it all in as well. So I think that's about it. Thank you for checking in with me today, and I will try my best not to make it so long before I'm back because this was too long, and even I feel that. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy knitting. Bye.